Oh, hey, come walk with me. All right, it is another sunny, beautiful Sunday morning, and we're going for a short walk just down into the city, as always. And today, walking a little bit more slowly because I was not careful enough, and now my leg hurts again. But never mind that. Today, I just wanted to talk briefly about how travel shapes the sense of time, and especially how preparing for travel shapes the sense of time. I find that basically, and we have talked about this a few times before, it's always good to have a kind of routine. And for daily life, that's relatively easy. You just do whatever you do. You wake up, do your sports, go to work, come back, eat something. So there's usually not a lot of planning involved. But what I find is that bus going by. What I find is that when preparing for travel, it really makes you think about the time spans that are involved. So it's, for example, if you go on a day trip, you might just have a look at the weather app and see if you need to prepare something like raincoat or I don't know, sunscreen, whatever it might be. But for anything that's probably longer than a day, it becomes quite interesting, and then it's more something like how many days are we going? And okay, so the first night, pretty much clear, you bring your top kit, and that's more or less standard. So you need one toothbrush, and it doesn't really matter how many days you go. But for anything that's consumable, it's more of a question, right? So do you bring the big toothpaste, or do you bring the small toothpaste? Do you bring extras? How much stuff do you need? If you're flying, then it gets a little bit more complicated, because of course you need to consider what you can pack in your carry-on. Do you want to check in luggage, and do you want to bring, for example, big liquid items? And the same goes for example, for clothes, right? So what I find is, like, for example, going for 3 or 4 days, usually I would just pack the amount of clothes that is needed. But going for longer trips, so let's say anything like longer than 5 days, then the question is valid: do I want to maybe do laundry? And then you think about whatever you need for that, right? You need detergent. Do you need something to hang up your laundry? Like there's some quite good travel laundry accessories that I like to bring. And so somehow you start to think in these terms of time frames, right? So a short trip is anything 1, 2, or 3 days. You could push it to 4. Then you have something like a week somewhere, which changes completely what you want to pack, or that you might have like a really long, something like 2 or 3 weeks, if that's in the cards. So what I find is it's kind of like these time frames change as you think about the planning, or as I think about the planning. And this week I have 2 trips coming up. So one of them is a day trip. So I'm preparing for that. That's just going to be something light. It's not something work related, so it's going to be relatively easy to just bring a small bag and just go in the morning, come back in the evening. Nothing much to plan for. The second one is going to be 2 nights. So for that, it's worth thinking about it a little bit. So it's a day trip and a short trip. And I find myself looking at the weather app, looking at, do I need to wear something different for this trip, for that trip, and what do I need to pack? And so it's kind of like, it's something different from planning for a regular week of basically just being at home working and doing the regular things, right? When planning a trip, this is something that I really like. I like to think about things like this. I like to plan for a trip like this. And when I'm on the trip, I like that I have basically planned like this because it also gives me that kind of certainty that everything that might be happening is pre-planned. I can just do whatever I would like to do on that trip. Like, for example, if I'm on a day trip, I could just enjoy myself. I could take some photos, maybe do a short vlog. And if I'm on the short trip with overnight stays, then usually I will already know where everything is. I have my travel kit planned, and it's easy to find everything in the bag. All right, so the construction here is going on a little bit. If you see this, there's construction here, construction there in the background. Everything is under construction, which is good, I guess. Maybe the city will look nicer afterwards. So I think the main point that I wanted to make today is that what I really like is that travel is kind of like this specific time period that makes it easy to think about it, that makes it easy to plan for it, that also somehow really makes it clear that it's a change from the regular kind of lifestyle, right? So it's a specific amount of time, 1 day, 2 days, whatever, that are just not the same as always. And it's nice to, on the one hand, be able to plan for it. On the second hand, on the other hand, it's nice to kind of have this, whatever you have prepared in terms of your luggage, in terms of the things that you're bringing with you, to have kind of like this feeling of home, right? So the for the duration of travel, the luggage kind of becomes the anchor, right? This is the amount of clothes that you bring. This is the amount of I don't know, toiletries, everything that you're bringing, and that's kind of like the thing that stays constant throughout the trip. So you can concentrate on doing whatever you like to do during your trip, or whatever you have to do during your trip, for example, if it's a work trip, and still come back to this kind of feeling of home, maybe home away from home, which I think really establishes itself as you do more travel. So, for example, what I find is that the more I travel, the more things become the same. So even though the hotel room, for example, might change, even though the mode of transport might change, the things that I bring with me somehow stay the same, and they also stay in the same configuration, so that things become less stressful, I guess, as we go on a trip like that. So I don't know if that's a very deep philosophical thought today. I just wanted to quickly think about, or quickly talk about, as we go on this walk, how travel influences my thinking of time periods. Like I mentioned, day trips, short trips, longer trips, and how that influences my preparation, my packing, and then also how that preparation and packing influences the trip and makes it easier to enjoy what really matters and not worry about whether something else is needed, whether something is different. Yeah, carve out that time, so the time period that has been given, and use it as something different. Use it maybe as a learning experience, or maybe as a timeout, reset, and make the most of it. With all that said, I think for today, let's keep it at that. Short one, and I will see you in the next one, and maybe we talk about whether all that worked out the way I had planned. Bye.